So this is take two. This is an addition to the one that was originally scheduled. It's warm as hell here in Sweden, Gothenburg, like it was the last time we did this. And it was just a really fantastic conversation with a company that basically said that they can take whatever you're thinking, almost at least, through a dialogue engine and basically manifest that into reality, working at a whole new different level of coding that doesn't require any coding. But anyway, today we're going to talk about augmented reality and what the benefits are. And ever since I came in contact with edx.com and especially edxtech.com, I've been really interested in augmented reality. Back in the day, which is, I think it's almost 8 years ago, almost exactly when Pokemon Go came out. And the reason I know that is Pokemon Go, not necessarily using the AR function, but because our daughter was born 8 years ago. We're just all the time, outside walking, collecting, gotta catch them all Pokemons. And that side, especially now with the metaverse, is quite interesting, right? The whole gamification aspect, and go and do stuff, and you can do things. Niantic are doing really cool things, and all this stuff, right? But what's been on my mind for a lot of years is, can we combine this gamification aspect with actually solving problems in reality? And again, I think that's where edx.com and edx.tech.com, which I work for right now or work with, they have come up with really interesting ways. So again, you've heard me talking about this before. You have like this global digital twin that is an up-to-date representation of reality. And you heard me talk about augmented reality as well. But what I'm trying to do this session is to talk more directly, even though I'm skirting off everywhere, about augmented reality applications. So again, fast forward maybe 1 year or 2 years or 3 years into the future, and just picture that you have glasses on you that are in fact smart glasses. These are not necessarily smart. Hopefully the person behind them are at some point, or most of the time. But if you have smart glasses, so if you Google for HoloLens or Varjo, that's virtual reality as well as HoloLens, augmented reality, mixed reality glasses, and also of course like Magic Leap. But they are pretty bulky. I know that a person is a thought leader in this space. David Syme was working in Glasgow with this futuristic glasses. No one would actually batting an eye, what do you call it, and questioning that he had this futurist classics on it. So maybe we're already here, right? But it's not necessarily mainstream. But when these smart glasses become mainstream, that's when you can delve into the unseen or like the hidden reality that exists around us and basically place content anywhere at the speed and latency. So this is what the you can do. So if I would, I'm on a bus or I'm, walking down the street, which is not necessarily, the best way, but let's say I'm on a train or on a bus. I have a pretty good internet connection and I don't have my phone with me, but I'm wearing, smart glasses. I can basically draw like an image of this size or a screen, and I can stream down content, like live video content, to my screen in real time at the speed of latency wherever I am. So that is pretty cool on its own, in terms for marketing purposes, all this kind of stuff. But it's also really cool that if you, again, have your smart glasses with you and you can basically visualize any of the hidden data that either surrounds you or combined with simulation capabilities to basically see what the weather is going to be like in your area before it happens, right? Not just an app where you have to, again, like dig deep down and look at it, but you can totally immerse yourself with this new data that is hidden surrounding you at any given point in time. So let's say you have pollution levels, right? And again, today you might get an alert and say like, you shouldn't go out today. And it's not necessarily granular or very much contextual, immediate to your person. Have these glasses, you can basically see the pollution levels in real time. You can see this hidden data and say, okay, I'm not going to go there because you're literally, walking into a wall of, bad outdoor air quality or even indoors. And what this is being used for EDX is to visualize network connectivity in real time. So again, if you're out walking, you see like got a couple of bars on your phone, or you don't have them, or you're losing the call, then you can look to the sky, I know why, because I'm in a dead zone, right? We get poor internet connectivity here or network connectivity. So I'm going to walk over here, up into the sky where I see that the network connectivity is good. And, that's how it's being used. So if you combine these things also, let's say for, installation purposes, for one thing, right? And that's also when it becomes really interesting, because usually when you do an install, let's say for a cell tower or manufacturing plant, whatever that might be, you rely on a lot of the plant managers, or like they have all this knowledge that they have acquired over the years, right? Or for data centers or whatever critical infrastructure that you need to bring to the table, literally. And that's also why the skill shortage gap exists, because they have a lot of knowledge. They might go into retirement and they know everything about this specific, again, cell towers, the processes that go into fixing these kind of things. And it's not necessarily that it's even there in a manual, or it's hidden in 3 different systems or maybe 10 different systems, with up-to-date or obsolete data and information that is stored in these binders. So you got to know exactly what steps to take. But if we can sort of record reality, understand how these people are working, doing these kind of things just once, and you absorb that into, again, you do this digitally, and you possibly, you have like this, again, like this, the smart glasses. So let's imagine just HoloLens, and you bring out this data, right, from the 12 different systems, and you layer that in a way that you can see them all at the same time. So you don't have to log into this one, log into this one, go onto computer, different interfaces, and try to make sense of it. Basically, what you want to do is, again, you're looking at, okay, how am I going to fix this product, this, whatever, in the manufacturing plant, or again, like in a cell tower installation or whatever that might mean. How are we going to do this? And then, the first one that, okay, I know everything about this product, or even though the manufacturer itself, they can provide a digital twin of their product with the right information, what steps to take, and, visualize this in augmented reality. So when you appear onto the, again, on site, and you want to do something, you put on your headphone, or not headphones, the smart glasses, the HoloLens, and you scan a QR code, or it instantaneously understands what kind of product it is. And then it appears, okay, start with this, and it shows you exactly what to do, and then go follow these steps and these steps and these steps and these steps, right? And with the intelligence that is going to come with it, the combination of onboard intelligence, maybe actually have there's someone that knows about this, streaming into your helmet so they can see everything that you see, and all of this is possible today, right? But the augmented reality aspects are really, really interesting, because that's when you can, again, bring everyone to a level to understand complexity, because you can visualize it, you can see it. And I remember back in the day when I think it was, this was novelty, it must be like 8 to 10 years ago, when there was a lot of, automotive manufacturers that had this for some of the, their engines. So if you pop up the hood, you can actually, again, see the digital, twin, not necessarily up to do with real-time data, but the virtual model of the engines. And you can basically see, go through the steps. This is how you open this stuff up. This is how you replace this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So usually this has been done on, micro scale. But if you bring this up to a level where you need virtual demonstrators for a smart city, for instance, that's when you can, let's say, okay, you build a hospital in outside of Seoul, right? And you have like the 3D model, the digital information models, packed with metadata tagging, a lot of, 3D models basically from everywhere, and you want all the other side of the planet, right? That's when you can, in theory, or not even in theory, you should be able to take that 3D model, visualize that in augmented reality at that part of the world, and then change it, based on whatever you want to see on that aspect, right? With the benefit of the users can interact with that building as it stands in the surroundings before it's actually there. So for the ones, you've listened to my rants before, I'm all about virtual first. We copy paste, what's in the real world. We take that up to a digital twin, feed that real-time data, and then we try out simulations. We try out things in the digital replica of the real world to figure out, does this actually work? And where reality comes in is that, okay, what would the user actually think of this? How would this actually display, not just in a virtual world, but actually how would this look like in reality? Which is again where augmented reality comes in, and it really shines. So especially when you tie it to real-time data, if you tie it to more industrial scale or macro scale stuff, like pollution levels in real time, or even combine it with simulation capabilities so that you can see the future before it happens, right? Okay, it's Damien again. Wants to talk about digital twins for the UK and the telco industry, hopefully. But anyway, so what's saying is that when you combine all this again, like the buzzword bingo, and you add simulation capabilities in augmented reality, you basically get to a real world, Black Mirror episode, right? So just imagine, I think I'm going to wrap this up. And again, like the benefits then would be knowledge transfer across domains, not limited by time and place on a global perspective. But to finish up with a pretty cool use case, which is again really possible today with the possibilities, utilizing the EDX engine in terms of real-time augmented reality as well as simulation capabilities, is that if you imagine you're standing on, your town square, right, and you're wearing these smart glasses, and it's not only hunting for Pokemon, and even though that's super cool, that yeah, there's so many things that I would like to say. Maybe I'm going to say it actually. But so for this use case, so again, imagine you're in town square, you're looking through your smart glasses, and you can see dragons. You can see the sky is going to be purple. You get like advertisements or whatever else that pops up basically on your geographic context. But with simulation capabilities, you can also see the future, right? So if you combine that with augmented reality, and if you real-time data in or where people are moving, so crowd-based simulations, and you feed that in augmented reality, you're basically going to see a lot of people around you, but when you take off your glasses, they're not there, right? But then if you put on your glasses again, you see like, all these people moving around you. Someone is, buying bread, someone is buying apples, someone stumbles and falls, whatever that might be. And, if you wait 6 minutes or 10 minutes, all of this or some of it will actually happen. So what you've done is you combine, real-time data with advanced simulations in augmented reality. So you're surrounded by people from your very own future. You could do for other nefarious purposes, but let's take riots in a city. You can basically understand where people are going to form, where they're going to be brought together. And if you're going to see like masses of people, okay, this is not going to be good because you're going to be here, and you display this to a police officer or someone in real time, that means that they can change the future before it happens. So they can go and stand over here and just say, like, okay, we're not going to do this because we can see, or I saw what was happening before it happened, right? So, of course, this is again, like Black Mirror, White Mirror, whatever episode. But also the novel approaches. I used to read a lot of different books. I love fantasy books, sci-fi, even Harry Potter, basically anything. I used to read a lot, but then the last 64 years, having kids and everything else in between, the most exciting, sexy stuff that I'm reading is like 60 research papers about hi-fi holographic societies, which is really really cool. But I missed reading. So this year I started reading Neuromancer and Snow Crash, because I'm all about the metaverse and trying to use that not just to escape reality, but actually to improve reality. So with that said, if you go back to Robert Jordan or The Wheel of Time or the Song of Ice and Fire, the George Martin stuff, right? That is and that actually fell dead on the last season. But just imagine when you're reading a book, and after reading that book, you have this creator economy, so that builds up these virtual worlds or these characters, so that when you close the book, you can actually see you can immerse yourself into the metaverse, into the virtual worlds of that specific book, and you have a creator economy that have created these visual characters, making basically the books come to life. That is on its own is pretty cool, but I think it's also really cool if again you combine it with the Pokemon aspect, that you can be surrounded from your favorite characters from your book at any given point in time. So when you close down the book, you can keep on talking to that person, and have that person be with you when you're walking in the city or whatever that might be, right? Or again, if you're tied into the Pokemon layer, You can see all these, different Pokemons, exactly like in, Free City or in the Pokemon Go movie or Pokemon movie, perhaps. You have all these characters, right? And that's, what I want to do in the future. Um, so again, like the creative destruction, I think was Schumpeter, that created at some point, that will happen with these new technologies are going to be really, really interesting, and of course possibly disastrous if you don't have a safety net. So again, I digress quite a lot here, but the benefits of augmented reality right now, I would think for industrial purposes, is to transfer knowledge both from systems in an understandable way for people, right? As well as transfer knowledge from people in terms of the skill shortage gap, so that the ones that know about how to make this happen, they can transfer it through augmented reality purposes. But the next one that's installing it or changing something, they will actually understand how to make this happen. And again, like copy paste something in terms of whatever's happening in one part of the world in understandable ways. So I hope this has brought some new ideas to life. I'm really here. I'm actually at my mother-in-law, trying to keep the kids away here. And if you have any questions about anything related to the metaverse, reality, virtual reality, as well as digital twinning, of course you're free to ask. Not necessarily free forever, but you're definitely free to ask for anything that you want, right? And again, my ambition is to help solve all problems much, much faster than we do today and operate in a global landscape. And with the global digital twin that we now have and can leverage at our disposal at EDX, together with a lot of the digital twin aspirations, as well as using the metaverse not just to escape reality but to improve reality, I hope that we get a good chance to solve problems much, much faster, and also to share the recipes, not just ingredients, on a global level, so to accelerate this so that we can solve critical problems together. That's it for me. I hope it was fun for you as it was for me, and thank you so much for listening in and tuning in. Thank you. Bye. Soon.